Hey guys, welcome back to Dragon Age and welcome back to the Inn. I figured we might want to talk to Cole and see if we can follow up at all on the events of his companion mission we engaged in.
She knows they're going to kill her. Can only save what's important. Precious space to remember her smile.
How'd you like to get out of here? Maybe do something fun.
I don't know. I've never tried.
Come on.
Inquisitor, you honor us with your presence. Will you be dining alone, your worship, or will others be arriving later?
I may have a friend joining me.
Very good, your worship. Right this way, please. Please enjoy your meal this evening, your worship.
You can tell her. She'll laugh and then do it because she loves you. She wants to make you happy.
Anything you'd like to share?
He wants his wife to tie his hands to the bedposts, little silk ribbons. He worries she'll hate him. She only said it because she was jealous of your shoes. Remember his hand on your waist as the music swelled. So many little hurts, even here, away from blood and battle. I wouldn't have heard them before. Now I can, thanks to you.
So you help them with a few whispered words?
The right words. Plus what I am, a little of me making the happiness stronger, so the pain fades. I don't steal the pain. The nightmare demon at Adamant did that. It made them less so it could grow. I help them heal. They never need to know I was here. You've made me better.
It was my pleasure.
Remember old Maurice, too proud to forgive, gnarled hands clutching the back of an empty chair? Find another path. There was someone, before. He was my friend, but he didn't know what I was. When he found out, he changed. I lost him. You found out, but you didn't change, didn't make me change. You let me be this, be more. Thank you for helping me find this again, for believing in me. You don't know what it means.
I have an inkling, and you're welcome.
You don't need to. It used to help, but it doesn't anymore. Let it go. You were scared, trying to show them you were strong. Find him. Tell him you're sorry. The woman in the red dress thinks you would look good naked. She wants someone to compliment her hat. They will never know, but I know, thanks to you.
Wow. I gotta say, right now I'm not really regretting my choice. It feels like I've helped facilitate exactly what he came here to be, and I think people might get distracted by the chance to make him human, but I don't know if that's necessarily the right way to deal with it. It's like dealing with an alien presence and wanting to make that thing human. Instead, I've helped him on his mission, and that's pretty nice. I can't help but think of Justice from the first game, although I might forget details about him, but he was generally, like, that's not his disciple, it's his goal, it's his mission. And so helping someone with their central focus, it seems like a worthwhile task. Hello, Iron Bull, I think it's been a while.
You know I've got no problem with Orlesians, but Halam Sharal was a mess. At least under the Qun, you don't get everyone tripping on each other's dicks while the country goes to crap.
Corypheus had agents sowing dissent and muddying the waters.
That's just it. Orlais is so vulnerable. If you killed everyone in the Triumvirate, the Qun would survive unchanged. I don't know. The Qun isn't perfect, but it doesn't care what any single person wants. Orlais is full of people who care about nothing else.
There's mixed feelings there, though, because, of course, you could say the Qun doesn't care about the individuals, which it makes it strong and difficult to interfere with, but at the same time, you also run the risk of there's a lack of compassion potentially. A lack of people involved means it can do things that are horrible, regardless of the impact it has on those involved.
You're doing good work, boss. I like how this Inquisition is coming. Next time you're free, why don't you come grab a drink? I'll introduce you to the Chargers.
You said we should go get some drinks and meet your company.
Yeah, come on. It'll be fun. Ah, good. We're not drinking alone. How you doing, Krem de la Creme?
Your worship. I'm so glad he has someone new to hit with that joke.
I can think of worse places to go with Cremisius.
So can the chief, believe me. He loves his nicknames.
Hey, when I was growing up, my name was just this series of numbers. We all give each other nicknames under the Qun.
They ever wear shirts under the Qun, chief? Or do they just run around binding their breasts like that?
It's a harness, Krem.
Yes, for your pillowy man bosoms. Let me know if you need help binding. You could really chisel something out of that overstuffed look.
You don't have to pass for a man to be a mercenary.
I'm not passing as anything.
In Qunadar, Krem would be an Acunatlak. That's what we call someone born one gender but living like another.
And Qunari don't treat those Qun people any differently than a real man.
They are real men, just like you are.
Maybe your people aren't so bad after all.
Don't get your hopes up, Krem. We still come down hard on the back talk. Anyway, here's the rest of the Chargers, or what's left of the rest. A lot of them went looking for stronger drinks. We've got Rocky and Skinner there, and over there are Stitches, Dalish, and Grim. Crazy bunch of assholes, but they're mine.
Were you born on the surface, or are you from Orzammar?
Orzammar. I got exiled. Stupid noble crap. Also, I accidentally blew up a bit of the shape rate.
Rocky's one of our best sappers. He can take down enemy fortifications faster than a golem.
I'm also working on my own version of Qunari black powder. I've almost got it.
Yeah, you really don't.
Why aren't you with your clan?
Our keeper thought I should see the world a little.
Dalish don't have Templars, so they can't have too many mages in a clan at once.
Now, sir, you know I'm not a mage. That'd make me an apostate.
You carry a staff, Dalish.
It's a bow.
A bow with a giant glowing crystal at the tip.
Yes, it's for aiming. Old elven trick you wouldn't understand.
I take it you're the company healer.
Yes, first time I ever picked up a sword was when the Blight hit Ferelden. Never put it back down.
He makes a potion that'll put you right back on your feet after even the toughest fight. It tastes terrible, though.
That's because it's a poultice, sir. You're not supposed to drink it.
So, how do you join the Chargers?
Killed some people.
Skinner didn't take kindly to nobles testing their new swords on the elves in her alienage.
Bull took me in. Now I get paid to kill shams.
This is actually really good behavior for her. She's not marking her territory or anything.
Grim, is it?
Grim doesn't talk much. I'm pretty sure he's the lost king of some small country, or chieftain. Something like that.
You really take in anyone, don't you?
Anyone who can carry their weight in a fight.
And who can put up with your bullshit, chief?
No man can beat the Chargers, cause we'll hit you where it hurts. Unless you know what's happened with loose cards and looser skirts. For every bloody battlefield we'll gladly raise a cup. No matter what tomorrow holds, our horns be pointing up.
Thanks for coming by, boss. Glad you could meet some of my team.
Alrighty then, so we got to meet the crew of the Serenity, and got a little bit of input on Krem in particular. I gotta say, I was talking to Wanderbot recently, or Carl, the person I collaborate with a lot. He totally called that Krem was female, passing as a male. I guess at this point, because there's so much animation and video games and stuff like that, like I'm just used to the idea of like female voice actors playing males, just so I didn't really think twice about the voice. But that immediately tipped him off, thinking that they have a transgender party. It's like, oh yeah, this not only is this the famously the male character that will just romance anybody, but then there's a crew member that is transgender. So this is exactly what this is the two characters that are pretty much every reason why people who get really mad about social justice warriors or whatever are like really irrationally angry at BioWare. That's somewhat amusing to me.
Commander Cullen did good work at Adamant. Breached those walls like he'd done it a dozen times. Nice job with the demons, by the way.
I wanted to talk about you, if that's all right.
You know, I'm from Tevinter. Wasn't a slave, but even citizens have it rough if they're not mages. I was a soldier, but women joined the ranks under a different program. When they found out I was passing, it got ugly. I ran, met Bull near the border, and ended up here. Not a life I'd wish on everyone, but it'll do.
You said you left Tevinter when they discovered your secret.
Women are allowed to serve, but only in certain ranks and disciplines. I was up for promotion, but the healer I'd bribed to sign off on my physical had to tend to a sick magister. When the replacement healer saw what was or wasn't in my paths, he made threats. It was slavery or death, so I knocked him out and ran.
I'm surprised you escaped from the Tevinter Imperium so easily.
It's not like I lived in Minrathous. I was in Trevis, not far from the Navaran border. It helped that I was being chased as a deserter, not a runaway slave. Slave hunters only get paid for what they catch. They're efficient bastards.
It's against the law to pass as a man.
It's a crime to lie on an Imperial application for service. Would have been a heavy fine or slavery. For 10 silvers, the healer said he'd tell the Tribune I was sick in the head. Some pity for the mad little girl. That was when I hit him. I'd served for a few years. I was good at hitting.
What's Tevinter like for a citizen? Someone who isn't a slave or a mage.
I'm of the Separati, citizens who aren't mages. Mages are in charge and everyone knows it. But a wealthy merchant can have an easy life. At the low end, people just try to stay out of slavery. My father was a tailor. I joined the army after the Imperial slaves drove him under.
How did slaves drive your family out of business?
My father made shirts, aprons, that kind of thing. Nothing fancy. One of the magisters had a pet project to prevent the poor from dying of cold in the winter. Nice, right? He had Imperial slaves making simple peasant clothes and selling them for almost nothing. That magister's nice idea put out slave-made clothes at prices my father couldn't match.
It's difficult to compete with someone who doesn't get paid.
That's Tevinter. My father sold himself into slavery. He's one of the Servus Publicus, the Imperium-owned slaves now.
Why did you decide to live as a man?
I didn't decide anything. I've been like this my whole life. My parents wanted me to marry up. They tried to find me a nice merchant's son. Every day, put on a dress, look into my father's shaving mirror, and just hate myself.
How did your family react when you started?
My mother wanted to throw me out. She said if I didn't marry well, I was dooming the family to slavery. She was happy to take the money I set as a soldier, though. Not that it mattered in the end. My father. When I was little, he'd angle his mirror down so I could pretend to shave, just like him. He never said anything, but I think he knew.
If you had the chance to use magic, would you change all the way?
What? No. I don't want any magic like that within 10 yards of my body. When I was younger, I don't know. Everyone has silly dreams. In Tevinter, dreams like that get you killed. Bull helped me make a good life. Nice armor and a well-placed sock, and I'm happy.
We'll talk later.
I've got to say, that's some not very often treaded ground, is the idea of a transgender soldier in, like, old medieval fantasy times. Hell, I love Mulan. Since we followed up with Cole, we may as well check in with Varric and Solus, right?
I need to have a few words with my publisher. The first one will be you, and the second one will be Bastard. They've claimed for years my crime serials don't sell in Orlais. So why is the Council of Heralds asking me for autographs? Sorry, distracted. Anyway, you need something?
Maybe we'll get more follow-up with Solus?
There are spirits hovering by the veil to observe the thrones of powerful nations, the machinations, betrayals. After our time in Halam Shiral, I understand why. I had forgotten how I missed court intrigue.
You miss court intrigue? When were you at court?
Oh, well, never directly, of course. An elven apostate is rarely invited to speak with empresses and kings. But from the Fade, I have watched dynasties form and empires crumble. It is sometimes savage, sometimes noble, and always fascinating. In any event, Celine should now be a steadfast ally, especially after helping her neutralize Briala.
I hope you know that I didn't turn over Briala lightly. If I'd had another option...
What? Why would I disapprove of... Oh, because we're both elves. I'm sorry, I was confused. I do not consider myself to have much in common with the elves.
Who do you have much in common with? Who are your people?
A good question. I joined the Inquisition to save the world. Regardless of who my people are, this was the best way to help them. As for the elves of Orlais, Briala did what she could. She was an admirable woman, even if her gambit failed.
Briala had a perfect plan if you wanted everyone to kill each other. I'm trying to avoid that. You could have focused on actual threats.
Easy to say. Harder to remember when few people can see you, instead of just seeing a pair of pointed ears.
That came as a little bit of a surprise that Solus does not apparently identify at all with elves. I guess I haven't dug deep enough to realize that. I mostly just know about his experience with the Fade. Although to be fair, oftentimes when I talk to him, he doesn't really react to me. Can I pick that up? Someone was pointing out the crystals here. I believe those are the same... That weird glowing thing, I think, is the same runes you used to open that door in the desert. Alright, no apparent follow-up with Cole. I guess they did say a bit about how they felt during the cutscene and all. I just thought that they might have more to do afterwards. How does it feel to be safe once again, Josephine?
Leliana wished to speak with you, Inquisitor. It seemed rather urgent. Yes?
How do you stay so civil with everyone, Josephine?
Bonds of circumstance among the nobility are fickle. Civility is the only constant everyone admires. And I do deplore rudeness in those who know better.
Does it even become a strain sometimes?
Well, it can be trying. There is no shortage of self-regard among the nobility. The game can be wearying, discouraging, and extremely baneful. But honestly, I'd miss meeting people. I've made the most fascinating friends.
Better than making piles of interesting enemies.
I've had both, sometimes depending on which way the wind has been blowing at the time. But worth it, all in all, I think.
Where were you raised, Josephine?
I was born in Antiva City, but when I turned 15, Mother declared I'd attend finishing school in Val Royeaux. But I bawled into her skirts the day I had to leave.
You must have missed her terribly.
I did. And she was most unsympathetic to my wailing. But my mother only wanted the best for me. Living in Orlais was an education in itself.
What did you learn at this finishing school in Val Royeaux?
Among other things, mathematics, rhetoric, poetry, history, logic, and a great deal of etiquette. I still remember Madame Beventir's switch on my knuckles when I forgot the basic tenets of Nevaran dining customs. For a dowager approaching her 80th year, she had quite the arm.
How did the younger you like Val Royeaux when you arrived?
Have you ever stepped into a new city and felt the buildings couldn't possibly be real? That was Val Royeaux to me. So beautifully foreign, I gaped at its spires for months.
Does Antiva City have nothing that compares to Val Royeaux?
Antiva City is a jewel among the capitals. But I did not appreciate that before I traveled. There are multitudes of places I'd like to see. Seheran, the Anderfelds, whatever lies past the Amaranthine Ocean.
Who rules Antiva?
Officially, the Principality of Antiva is governed by His Majesty King Fugelno II. In reality, Antiva's merchant princes rule the country in everything but name. Quite loudly, I might add.
What sort of dealings did you have with these merchant families?
As ambassador, I attended Privy Council meetings in a mediatory capacity. May I just say, one has never heard an argument until they've sat in on 15 princes howling down each other's tariff suggestions.
If you must deal with legislation, at least it's lively.
It's all a part of life in Antiva. Our traditions value passion and romance. A certain exuberance of style.
Are you positive you're Antivan?
I can be most exuberant when it's called for. Just at the right moments, and in a proper fashion. Might we speak of something else?
Let's speak later.
Farewell.
I think we'll follow up on some of those other moments in a bit, but now it's time to check in with Leliana since apparently something is urgent. I kind of want to see exuberant Josephine now. Antiva. In the rest of the civilized world, it is a common belief that Antiva has no king. I assure you, gentle readers, that this is untrue. The line of kings in Antiva has remained unbroken for 2,500 years. It is simply that nobody pays any attention to them whatsoever. In truth, the nation is ruled by a collection of merchant princes. They are not princes in the literal sense, but heads of banks, trading companies, and vineyards. Their power is conferred strictly by wealth. But Antiva is not primarily renowned for its peculiar form of government, nor for its admittedly unparalleled wines. Antiva is known for the House of Crows. Since Antivans are well known for being good at everything but fighting, it is more than a little ironic that Antiva possesses the most deadly assassins in the world. Their fame is such that Antiva keeps no standing army. No king is willing to order his troops to assault her borders, and no general is mad enough to lead such an invasion. The attack would likely succeed, but its leaders would not see the day. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travelers of a Chantry Solar by Brother Genitivi. That's rather interesting, because even in modern society, you think of like the song War Pigs by Black Sabbath, for example, the politicians send people to war. Why don't they send themselves? Like their own children aren't going to be in danger and stuff like that. It's other people that are going to die for their qualms. But when you're dealing with Antiva, the soldiers aren't the ones that are at risk. It's the leadership, and so it's this. Of course, it's fictional, so it can't be used as necessarily as an example of how the solution can be done in real life. But it is interesting that in this fictional story, at least, that once leaders are in danger, suddenly they're less willing to just attack certain countries. Go figure.
Inquisitor, may I have a word? I notice you've paid Lady Montelier quite a number of compliments.
You found me out, Spy Master.
An entanglement with our ambassador seems most unwise. I asked Josephine to join the Inquisition because we needed a diplomat, not so she could be toyed with.
I enjoy being with Josephine. I'm not trying to break her heart.
Then I would be more cautious. Josephine's no stranger to courtly intrigue. But love? There she's an innocent. She has no idea you are truly attracted to her. If indeed you are.
What do you have against the idea of me being attracted to Josephine?
I have not known you long, Inquisitor. Neither has Josephine. Her heart is easily carried away. I want to be sure it's taken by someone who truly cares. So, if you feel anything towards Josephine, I want to know.
Yes, I'm very attracted to Josephine.
Is that so? Whatever is between you, I ask that you treat her with kindness. For her sake, as well as yours.
Whatever happens, I'm glad to see Josephine has a concerned friend here.
I have so few true friends these days. Those that are left I deeply cherish. I will not trouble you any further, but I do watch over my friends. Good day, your worship.
Well, that's neato, because Leliana's of course been around since pretty much the beginning of the first game, so it's kind of nice to see her little character development here of her having like a big sister relationship with another character in the party. Clearly, we're just talking about the Antiguan crows. Clearly, I'm at risk of some danger if I don't behave myself. I'll have to be sure to do so. I'll talk to her again just to see if I can trigger her companion quest type dialogue, because I don't think we've gotten there yet.
A message from Divine Justinia.
That's a shock. Are you all right reading it?
Thank you for the concern, Inquisitor. But I am. This message was written months, perhaps even years ago, to be delivered to me if she died. I've heard of such contingency plans. A sudden death often leaves loose ends. I'm to go to Valence, a small village on the waking sea. There is something hidden there.
Do you know what you're looking for?
The Divine was a powerful woman who used her position to obtain all sorts of things. Whatever she hid in Valence would very likely benefit the Inquisition and must be kept from falling into the wrong hands. If I'm lucky, she will have instructions for me.
You take your instructions from me. What sort of help can a dead Divine give you?
I don't know. Perhaps something to do with a chantry. Or it could be personal. She guided me for many years, Inquisitor, as a Divine and as a friend. There are days when I still look to her for advice, only to remember that I am alone.
I gotta say, it came on a little bit stronger than I thought I was going to there.
Why hide things in Valence? What's so special about it?
Justinia was revered mother at the chantry there for many years before she became the Divine. It is a place that holds great meaning for her.
Is this you asking permission to leave for a bit?
Well, yes. I can't imagine I'll be away from my post for very long. And I was hoping you would agree to come with me. Will you at least consider it? One more thing. If what is hidden in Valence is as valuable as I think, we're not going to be the only ones looking for it. I shall meet you at the chantry in Valence. Try not to delay.
Certainly seems like a worthwhile pursuit. I mean, Divine Justinia is at the core of so much of what's happening in this game in the first place. We should definitely follow up with anything she may have left behind. And I am getting stuck on every piece of geometry trying to go down these stairs. The Left Hand of the Divine, a letter written by Divine Justinia and posthumously delivered to Leliana, directed Leliana to visit Valence, a small village on the waking sea. The Divine left something in the chantry that Leliana must see. Join Leliana at the chantry in Valence.
It's just as I remember it.
You didn't tell me you'd been here before.
The hero Ferelden and I came here after the Blight to visit Justinia. She was just Dorothea then. A revered mother.
It's peaceful here. You must have good memories of this place.
It was a place of comfort. It is good to see it still untouched by Corypheus.
Leliana, is that you?
Sister Natalie, what are you doing here? I thought you were in Val Rayo.
No. I've been here since Justinia died. This place makes me feel like she's still with us.
Inquisitor, this is Natalie, a trusted friend.
Wait, Inquisitor? You brought the Inquisitor here? My lord, forgive me for not recognizing you earlier.
I wish more people would fail to recognize me.
Oh, I see.
Natalie, listen. There is something hidden here. Something Justinia left for me.
Oh, really? What is it?
I don't know, but we'll find it. I'm curious to see what brought us all here. Justinia's letter came with instructions for me. They were a little cryptic. Always remember that faith sprung from a barren branch, that light has no fear of darkness. Above all, that strength lives in an open heart.
She must be hinting at something in here, Let's look around.
Do they still sing verses from the benedictions every Friday? That canticle was Justinia's favorite.
Yes, of course. We'd never give up the traditions of our most beloved divine.
That is lovely to hear. I stare up at the breach sometimes. It's terrifying, but beautiful in its way.
It is beautiful.
Have you seen it by sunrise?
When the sun rises through it, it splits into what looks like 1,000 suns, like a broken mirror.
Yes, spectacular, isn't it? You must be careful, Natalie. Justinia's enemies are making it, vying for position and the sunburst throne. I was in the cloister in Lothering when the Blight began. There was a lot of fear back then. No one knew what was going to happen. There were people dying. Then Rosebush. I thought, even in the midst of all this, life finds a way. The Maker hasn't abandoned us.
I was starting to think that they were never going to stop talking. I kept getting interrupted every time I started to talk. So I was about to talk about, like, hey, it looks like we have a 3-part mystery here to solve, but
What was that?
maybe not so much.
Looks like we opened something.
I guess it's less of a puzzle if you just click the left stick and magically find everything like that.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
Good old Leliana was playing you the whole time. Didn't you realize?
They never sing the benedictions here on Fridays, Natalie. Something so simple. And you got it so wrong. I wanted to believe, but you were lying from the start. Keep that pretty mouth shut if you must, dear. You've already told me everything I need to know. The prickleweed burrs on your hem, talking about the sun rising through the breach. It all points to a single place. Morel in the Dales, Grand Cleric Victoire's bastion. She sent you, didn't she? Victoire was always an opportunist.
Who is this Grand Cleric? I've never heard of her.
An experienced cleric. She never agreed with Justinia, but kept her ideas to herself. I suppose now, with Justinia dead, she thought she could make her move.
I want to know what this Grand Cleric planned here.
She sent Natalie here to see what Justinia was hiding, no?
The Inquisition has turned Thidas away from the true Chantry. It must be stopped.
Stop us? You must be joking.
Mother Victoire is well loved by many. The Inquisition has more enemies than you know.
And Victoire thinks she can ally with them.
Good work. We know the name of our enemy. That's half the battle won.
Exactly.
Kill me then. I am not afraid to die for my beliefs. At least I still know what I believe.
We don't have to kill her.
No. I must protect the Inquisition. She is an enemy.
I see what you've become. The righteous stand before the darkness, and the Maker shall guide them.
No! This can't be it. There's nothing here.
Check again. Perhaps the box itself is a puzzle. She seemed the puzzling sort.
No, it's just an empty box. There's a message carved in the lid. The left hand should lay down her burden. She's releasing me. The divine has a long reach, but it is always her left hand that stretches out. 1,000 lies, 1,000 deaths. Her commands, but my conscience that bore the consequences.
She apologized in the Fade. She said she failed you. This is what she meant.
All this time, Justinia carried the fear that she was using me, just like I'd been used in the past. But Marjolaine's games were trifles. Justinia gambled with the fate of nations. She needed me. No one else could have done what I did. She knows that.
Then you have to let it go. Let her go. You don't owe her anything anymore.
This? Now? After everything you've said and done? And my poor dear Natalie. I called her sister once, but I couldn't risk leaving her alive. Don't tell me to let it all go after all I've sacrificed to get here. Justinia tried to save me, but all it's done is made me realize I don't need saving. There is work to be done. I'll see you back at Skyhold.
Wow, so Leliana's clearly gone through a bit of a transformation over the course of the... Oh, is that the loot? Oh, that's the loot of the dead sister. Cloak of Shadows ring. And the Tongue of Okay, she had a very powerful dagger. It definitely makes the... it definitely makes the attack on her feel a little bit more valid when she was armed and ready to attack us, it seems. So, Leliana's gone through some sort of a transformation. Of course, she has a past as a bit of an assassin, perhaps, but... in Origins, she was the singing bard that was the voice of reason and peace in the party, it seemed. And now she's sort of an angel of death at this point. It's tough, because it's a little hard to say whether Leliana's right or wrong in her general approach, but you could definitely get the feeling that she feels a little overly committed to what she's done so far because of the gravity of her past decisions. It's reminiscent of what happened before with the Grey Warrens, where like one of the last things we saw before we got interfered with the Grey Warrens to tell them they were being used was we saw one of their we saw their leader.
The loss of her agent.
Good. Her support base is in Morale. Tear it down.
We saw the leader of the Grey Wardens at the time kill one of their... maybe not... Was that the leader at the time? Maybe not the leader. Yeah, I think it was the leader of the Grey Wardens at the time. Killed one of her old friends in service of the blood magic that they were using before she... And then moments later, we found out that she was being used. And, like, she could have... After what happened, like, she could have easily not seen the light of her ways. So many almost villainous type characters in fiction are often... committed to their decisions even after they are given evidence that they might be wrong, simply because of the fact that they've lost so much in the process of the path that they've chosen that they feel like they can't change their direction now. And Leliana, like I said, it's hard to say if she's right or wrong about her motives, but if it were to become more clear that what she's doing is not the way to go, it'd be much harder to change her mind now that she has committed more and more to it.
Grand Cleric Victoire wishes to make an enemy of the Inquisition. I'll give her what she wants. Doesn't Victoire have a young cousin? Lord Firmin? She dotes on him.
Yes, mistress. I believe that is so.
Good. Have him collected. He shall be an honored guest, and make sure the Grand Cleric hears about it.
At your command.
Is everything under control?
Perfect. The Grand Cleric and others like her will fall in line soon enough. You see, when I'm ruthless, it gets us where we need to be. It's something to be proud of. Why fix it? How funny that her regret is what finally puts my own to rest. I chose to become her left hand, knowing what it meant. It was my weakness that stopped me from fully committing to my task.
You have a good heart. It's not a weakness.
You are too kind, Inquisitor. Call it what it is. The Inquisition needs me just as the Divine did, to do what no one else dares. Death and deception are my trade. It is what I am. It is what I always will be.
Yep, that's exactly what I was getting to. She's going into a dark place and is fully committed to the direction she's going in because she's already sort of sealed herself in that direction. And that was not a very wow, that was a weirdly delayed landing sound. That was not a very good role-playing jump. I jump off that ledge sometimes, but I try to do it when I'm not recording. Didn't think about it. Kind of awkward to see. Whoops. But it'll be tough to see where Leliana goes from here. She's definitely changed quite a bit from what you see in the DLC prequel, that's her as a young person, to what you see of her in Dragon Age Origins, to where you see her now. And I wonder where she's going to end up. If she survives.